fell and lost to the war. Shot me dead. I was lost and sad to the voices in my head. I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up again. I'm gonna get up to another day. I'm not giving up again. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get up Look into my eyes. My heart beats like a drum. You listen to my lies.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Longer and Harder, the show on the internet where we take a subject and we go deeper. How are you all doing today? Hope you all are having yourselves a wonderful, wonderful Sunday afternoon. It is gorgeous here in Nebraska. I'm loving it. It's God, how warm is it today? Enjoying a beer and laughing at bad D&D take on Twitter. So good, awesome sauce. What is the temperature? Curious now. 62 degrees, which in not American is some amount of degrees. I don't know. See if Google will tell us. Hey Google, what is 62 degrees in Celsius? Maybe it won't tell. Who knows? I'm gonna tell. It just decided to give up. So yeah, I'm actually curious. In Celsius. 62 in Celsius is 16 degrees. God, that seems so cold. I don't like that. That's why I don't like Celsius. Everything seems so cold in Celsius. Which I guess makes sense. But it's super nice here in Nebraska, so I am loving it. I'm gonna maybe take Hobbs out for a walk today, so you might get. I wanted to do like a second live stream of just like going for a walk with Hobbs. So if you, I don't know, stick around the channel or follow me on Twitters and whatnot, you might get to see that. Because Hobbs likes to go on walks. He was all cranky yesterday that I didn't take him out, but it kind of sucks. But yes, hello Micro, hello Jelly, hello Luke. How are you all doing? Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. The D&D take made me think of a cool campaign I will never actually play. Oh, okay. What bad D&D takes? I don't know what bad D&D takes are. The only bad D&D take that I've seen there's probably more, obviously. But the one that I've seen that it makes me laugh the most. So for context, I'm not sure if you'll hear this stuff, but like a lot of gamers get all cranky about like games now are too easy and like adding like easy modes or peaceful modes or whatever to video games. So this was like a big thing like a year, maybe two ago with like Dark Souls-ish games. Sekiro, the one with the ninja samurai thing guy with the bone arm. Like a bit ago there was an article that somebody said like somebody just gave the opinion that they should like all these Souls games should maybe have like an easy mode of some variety, because there's a lot of like really cool there's like a lot of really cool world building and storytelling and all this other really neat stuff that happens in like the Souls games that a lot of people don't get to appreciate because it's so difficult to get to those parts that people don't get to enjoy like that part of the game. And he just kind of said like it's a bit of a shame. I kind of agree, like it is a shame that people don't get to experience that. So his suggestion was like, hey, put an easy mode on it, which I was like, oh, yeah, sure, whatever, I don't care. play the game, and then people lost their shit about that because adding easy modes to games is apparently um something that's sacrilege, which seems weird because, like, as far as I know, like, video games forever, a lot of classic games have had easy modes. Doom has its easy mode. So does Wolfenstein. A lot of, like, crazy stuff has had easy modes of some variety, so it's not like it's anything new. So it's not like games always were hard and always need to be hard. So I have seen, this is background for all this, one of the bad D&D takes that I saw was that people were using D&D as an example of, like, why you shouldn't have, like, you shouldn't have easy modes in games. Um and they were like, oh no, we can't, like, it was something like people sitting around the table, and someone was saying, oh, I really want to get into D&D, but the rules are too hard, like, they're too complex. And so so I'm having a hard time with the game. Could we change the rules? And someone at the table was like, no, we've always played the game this way, and we can't, these are the rules, we can't change the rules, which is, like, entirely antithesis to D&D, which is the funny part. Like, they tried so hard to use D&D as a bludgeoned, um without realizing that, like, D&D in general, like, is this game that in the rule book itself, it tells you to fuck around with the rules. Like, the creators are like, yeah, fuck around with the rules, that's what it's there for. Like, all the rules are fuckable up with. Like, you can just mess with the rules. There's nothing within the rules saying you can't. There's just, you change the rules for your party. I think I tweeted it out, or I liked it on YouTube, so I think I got tweeted out. But I actually watched this mom who made, like a preschool version of D&D for her kids, which I think is fantastic. Like, that kind of stuff is very nice to see. Like, people who try to like, change the rules and make them so that, like, people of all ages can enjoy the game, because the rules are complex. And I don't fucking know half the rules, and that's fine. Like, you don't have to know the rules, and sometimes you can just fudge the rules, or sometimes you can be like, we'll do it like this today until we can figure out a good way to do it later, and that's fine. Like, that's the whole spirit of the game, is to fudge around with the rules. So I did find that to be quite a funny take. Long story for a funny take that probably no one got. Okay, R&D. This is the bad take I'm currently laughing about. I'll have to check that out. If I knew how to set up a D&D game and people to play D&D with, I would be one hell of a game. If anyone wants to steal the idea, go right ahead, by the way. It's a campaign set during the game where you play a set of orcs trying to climb up the ranks. I just use the game to come up with the basic concepts of the other orcs, so it's way easier to set up a lot of characters. Some of the homebrew rules happen simply because people can't read. Yeah, and some of the rules are dumb. Like, not like there's so many videos on YouTube of, like DMs who've been doing this forever, who are like, some of the rules are really dumb. Like, somebody pointed out how because everything in D&D is a character, everything in D&D has a stat, right? It is possible to have, like, a fisherman be killed by a crab, because because the crab has stats and the fishermen have stats, and the fishermen only have, like, so much HP. So, like, if a fisherman, like, pisses off a crab, the crab could actually kill the fisherman, or have multiple crabs kill a fisherman, which like, you're like, that sounds real dumb. I'm trying to remember who else brought this up, but like, somebody brought up, like, the scenario where you spent, like, a whole lot of time setting up for, like, to go out and do, like, a sneaky kill on whatever, a baron or whatever, right? And you spend this whole time getting yourself in there, and subterfuge, whatever it's called, to, like, make your way in there, and to, like, make your way to, like, the higher ranks, and, like, in the inner circle or whatever, just to like, kill this one person. And so you can do things like, the way that they brought it up was, like, this baron grabs you would do whatever. I forget what the control, there's a control spell that I forget what it's called. There's like, control person or control creature, I forget what the name of the spell is, but you, like, control the person, and then you ask the baron to, like, or you make the baron, like, stab himself with his steak knife, right? And if you sit there and you, like, roll for, like, an attack with the steak knife, one, the steak knife is probably not going to have a high attack dice, and two, he might miss, or might not miss and get damage. But it's just that you like, you stab yourself, but you don't, like, you stab yourself in the eye, but you don't take enough damage to die. And like rules like that are super weird and like and dumb. Which is why people change the rules. I've been house ruling D&D since 1976 and gonna stop just because some rule lawyers get butthurt. My favorite is the rule that being able to swim means you can suddenly swing a giant ass greatsword underwater with no problem. Yes. There are, yes. We were talking about, because we did a lot of swimming stuff in our D&D game last night. And yeah, that's like one of the rules. If your character gets a swim speed, which means they can actually like swim in water, which also is like you can't swim in water until you have swim speed, or it's all just fucking mess, right? But yeah, once you learn how to swim, this automatically translates in you being able to like swing your weapon in water, which is kind of weird, because like physics doesn't work that way at all. So there's a lot of weird rules, and that's fine. Like it's not, the rules aren't written in such a way as to be able to what's the word, to be able to have an answer for every kind of problem available. Like that's not how the rules are written. It's just they're written in such a way for you to be able to bend the rules. So that's kind of what this whole tangent is about. Oh, Hobbs just left the room. Other cats back there too. So yeah, video game logic, yeah, and Dungeons and Dragons can be very video gamey. I know there's definitely some people who like to make it more realistic, which is fine. You know, do you play the game however you want? Which again, if you want to play it like that and you want to play very realistic, go for it. That's super cool. If you just want to run around and I guess I'm running a campaign now. The campaign that I'm running now is very much so in the like video gamey kind of thing, where it's a lot of like kill all the monsters, loot their bodies for gold. Why do monsters have gold? Who the fuck knows? Kind of dealio. Like there's just gold everywhere and random magic items everywhere, and there's just the stuff just hanging around, and there's traps, and you know, like just fight all the things, and just go have fun and kill everything if you want to kill everything, kind of deal. And that's, you know, that's what the players want. We talked about, and that's what we wanted to do, so that's what we do. The one that I play in is the other one that I play in is a little bit less combat heavy. Like it's less tactical combat, and it's more about like role playing, and that's fun too. Like do what you want to do is pretty much the thing. It's just do what you want to do. Honestly, playing where crabs are being controlled by a mad druid to attack fishermen sounds like fun. That does sound like fun. Okay. So, with that said, we got Hobbs here. We might switch to Hobbs all of a sudden. Okay. But that was kind of our welcome. We kind of just did a lot of talking there. Men's conquest or cannibal crabs crawl to kill. Oh my goodness, that sounds like a D&D campaign there waiting to happen. I have Hobbs here, and he's being difficult about where he wants to sit down. I wish he would just pick a spot, buddy. Yeah? That gonna be your spot? Okay, that's gonna be your spot. We'll switch the camera so we can watch Hobbs be adorable as he always is. Hi, buddy. There he is. Look at that. What a handsome boy. So, with that said, housekeeping. The only thing of housekeeping I have is that I don't know. Hopefully, this is kind of a test. My hard drive, my internal hard drive on my computer is weird. Like it's super messed up, and I don't know how to fix it yet. So I've been working on trying to fix it. So currently, my computer is running on an external hard drive, which I don't know how healthy that is for the computer to run on an external hard drive, but it is. So I don't know how well this stream is going to hold up. It also means that things are kind of weird everywhere. I don't have videos downloaded because this is running off an external hard drive, but I don't have those videos downloaded. So we're going to watch them off the YouTube, which I think is going to create a little bit of lag. I also don't know how OBS and how the stream is going to hold up. So far, everything seems to be going really well. So we're going to cross all the fingers and hope that everything just stays going smoothly for the rest of the stream. It also means that video editing software and video recording software isn't something that I necessarily have access to right now. Because again, I'm running this off of an external hard drive, which doesn't have all of my stuff on it. So yeah. So that's that. So that's housekeeping. Again, just a reminder, we don't have beer of the week. How's it hooked up? USB. It is hooked up with the USB, which makes me again super nervous. I don't like it. It's a USB 3, so at least it's fast enough to do that. I just bought like one of the cheaper ones, just because I wanted to see if I could. I might go out and buy like one with a FireWire thing, which I think is better than USB 3. To see if it'll do a little bit better on that. But for now, I mean, for now, nothing's crashed. Everything's working fine. It's just that I don't have my stuff. Pretty much like I don't have any of the files that I usually. I have some of them obviously because I was able to set up this because some of them USB-C, yeah. It's USB 3 to my computer and it's a USB-C to the hard drive, whatever that means. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now with computer stuff. So some of it got saved to cloud stuff, so some of it still obviously exists. I was able to set up this. But some of my other stuff is on another hard drive and I'm trying to get things. I'm just super cautious because I don't necessarily want to brick my computer. And I can't really get it like anywhere for repairs because everything for repairs is closed. So this might have to be status quo for a little bit. Is just using an external hard drive to run my computer for a little bit. That's just fine. So far, it's fine. So far nothing's been breaking. It's just, things are a bit harder for me. Not harder. It's just I have to find things. That just means downloading things off the internets. Because thankfully I do have a lot of it saved on cloud spaces. So a lot of it is backed up somewhere. I haven't like lost anything. It's just annoying, buddy. It just makes me nervous. Assuming that you have a USB plug to your computer, or of course, if you do, it's basically an HDMI cable, but for everything. Okay. Yeah. I'd have to check what kind of plugs I have in the back of my computer. I feel like I have a USB-C in the back of my computer. What do I do? But for now, it's working, so we're gonna stick with that. All right, so with all that said, that's pretty much all the housekeeping for today, which takes us to our video menu. Also, I'm trying out, not that this should impede or do anything, but I am trying out the OBS, the Streamlabs OBS, because they did come out with one for Mac, so that's kind of cool. Cloudbot should be here. I don't know. We should maybe wake up Cloudbot. Upside down Twitter, if that wakes up Cloudbot. But Cloudbot is here. We have ourselves some lovely options for today on things. So hopefully that wakes up Cloudbot. But otherwise, I don't know. We'll figure out a way to vote some other way. I guess there it is. Okay. So for today's options, we have ourselves 7-Year-Old Transitions by Blair White, Immigration by ARTV, Debunking Evolution by Genesis Apologetics, SJWs versus Sonic by Geekdom 101, which is still a thing. Like I thought that wouldn't be a thing. But I don't know if like Sonic came out on DVD or digital download or whatever the hell, like it came to home video or whatever. But I saw it like coming up on Twitter again, and people were still like, "Oh, I can't believe all the SJWs hate Sonic so much," which I'm just like, I don't like. I don't know. I guess I'm an SJW. I've been told I am one, so I don't hate Sonic, and I haven't watched the movie. I'm sure it's good. I heard that it's really good. So I really don't know what that's all about, but it's still a thing. Jeranism. He talks about a lot of stupid things, so I don't remember exactly why, but Jeranism's on here. Who interview, which is a random or cam, which is honestly, it sounds like a hoot from the little bit I've seen of it. It does sound fantastic. And Vaccines by Paul on a Plane, which is an interview with Dr. Sherry Penn something. I looked her up. She's a real doctor, but she's a real anti-vaxxer doctor of some variety. So those are kind of our options for today. So with that said, let's get ourselves Cloudbot going here to vote. If you would like to vote for any of the videos today, all you got to do is to give yourselves a upside down eye vote, then the number you like to vote for, and Cloudbot will do the rest for you. Oh god, not her. Yeah. So you know her. Okay. I've never heard of her until today. It's Dr. Sherry Tenen something. I don't remember. I did look her up though. She sounds quite hilarious. She really seems like quite the hoot. But she was a real doctor. So a lot of this is very it's supposed to be like COVID-19 related, the interview, but a lot of it seems to like go into like just general anti-vaxxer. She's definitely a like vaccines cause autism kind of lady pants. Speaking of which, speaking of vaccines and autism, if you have not, you definitely should go check out Essence of Thought's video on autism. Or not really on autism, but it was on Autism Speaks. It's a really good video. It talks a lot of Autism Speak is awful. And I've always kind of known that Autism Speaks was awful. Like that's not exactly new. I just didn't realize how awful Autism Speak was until this video. Like I'd been yeah, I knew that they were shady there. I think they're definitely done like the they're one of those people, one of those groups who's like um uh trying to trying to find a cure for autism, which in and of itself is very very much so on the sketchy side of things, because it's yeah. But then they actually go so far. Essence of Thought shows a like ad, and the ad like that they have is fucking gross. Like it's real gross. It's very much so in the like autism is like the thing that destroys families kind of deal. Like they just blame autism for destroying families. Just God, so fucking gross. So yeah, if you haven't, you should definitely go check out Essence of Thought's video on Autism Speaks. It's really good. Um the Sonic movie is neither good or bad. It's harmless. You can watch it once, but a second time isn't worth it. Okay, maybe I'll try to actually watch it this weekend. It seems interesting. Like I'm also really happy that they did the thing where they listened to their fans and like actually changed the character design for Sonic, because first Sonic was fucking gross. I did hear that was one of the main complaints, or one of the main complaints by SJW, was that Sonic was changed, and SJWs don't like to listen to criticism, so that's why they hate Sonic, which I just find hilarious. To such a wonderful degree of hilarity. So yeah, that's not those are our options for today. Let's see how polling is going. It sounds like Seven's gonna win. So Micro says that Tenpenny, that's her name, is basically Ultra Karen. Oh no. Yeah, so the bits that I saw was very Karen like. The ad is one of the most insane things I've ever seen. It's really bad. If nothing else, go check out Essence of Thought's video for that ad. If you just wanna feel terrible about everything, go watch that ad, because goddamn, it's real bad. I mean, the animation studio that had to do the got fucked, even though the old design probably wasn't their fault. Yeah, no, that's probably true. I one can only hope that they got paid, but who knows? How well they got paid for the redoing it. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't at all blame the studio. I don't think it wasn't probably their design choice. It was probably some executive at Sony who was like, you know what? I bet all the cool kids would like this design, and then they were like, no, none of the cool kids like this design. I do like that they stuck the new design is very it looks way better. And it was really just a design thing. The design thing was, gosh. My honest opinion, the best thing in Sonic is Jim Carrey. He does seem pretty good. Does he from the trailers he didn't seem to be like too Robotnik-y, which made me a little sad. Like he was just kind of evil scientist human man, but then like and this is just my impression from the trailer, it just looked like he didn't get to be the Robotnik character until like the last scene. Which is sad, because I think he would just be, a good Robotnik character, just being Robotnik, right? It's like so bad it's good, but for an ad. Yes. Animation studios getting fucked is par for the course, unfortunately. Yeah, that's not at all a surprise, which is really sad. All right, we are all done with being able to vote, and seven just won by a landslide. So we get to go to 7, which let's see if we can pull things up here in the appropriate fashion. So get her here. I did back to the beginning. Like I said, I was listening to her earlier, and it just sounds real bad. Real bad. Like, okay. Let's get video menu out, and there we have ourselves. Full name of the video is is the full name. Cleveland doctor exposes COVID-19 lies. It's a mirror. Oh, okay. So this isn't even by Paul on the Plane where I found it. It's from Richie from Boston. So you want to go do the Richie from Boston thing? That's kind of cool. I do like how Google is doing this thing with YouTube videos now, where they put like the not sure if you can see it, but they put like information about the thing that's in the video, especially for crazy conspiracy videos. I do like that. I think that's fantastic. Uh what's with the new things at the top? What is the things on the top? I don't know. Didn't you know Karen is the N word of women? No, like yeah, okay. I stop calling Karens. I do. There's a tweet by a Karen who says that she's okay with being called Karen, which I love. I love how that's become a thing. I'm not gonna fall for the Karen's a slur thing any more than boomers a slur. I know people got all pissy about boomers, but you know what? No, you just not being a boomer. Also, boomer is not an age thing. It's an ideology. Yeah, let's go with that. It's an ideology. So people would like Paul Joseph Watson is a boomer, right? Even though he's not actually a boomer. There's definitely a lot of young people who are boomers who aren't actually. Um, Technically, it is an age. It's not an age. It's a mindset thing. It's the Karen that complained about a boomer too. Boomer isn't an age; it's a brain rot. Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't. You like being of the boomer generation does not mean that you necessarily buy into all the that you buy into like the boomer mentality. There's definitely plenty of boomers who don't buy into boomer, but there's also plenty of younger people. Again, I would say Paul Joseph Watson is a great example of somebody who's definitely not boomer age but buys into the boomer mentality. Um, and then who's the other one? Oh god, Kevin Logan did a video on her. This lady. She's real pretty. She dresses real nicely all the time in her video. She's like super like 1950s is the best time of to be alive kind of lady. Um, and so she dresses like it and she looks good on dressing like it, but she definitely has the boomer mentality of like um if you're at all like sexual, you're like a whore. Is her mentality. So yeah, she's fun. You should look at Kevin Logan's got a video on her. I forget her name. Okay, with all that said, let's start off with Richie from Boston. See what Richie from Boston has to say about all this fun stuff. It's gonna be a little laggy, like I said, just because we're playing it off of YouTube and I don't have it downloaded. So we're just gonna deal with it. I think for today.
Of April in the year 2020, and one of my most highly demanded people in a live stream ever would have to be Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Doctor, I know that you are an unbelievable demand right now. I really, really appreciate you making the time this morning.
You betcha. Thanks for having me on.
You betcha. You betcha is a great. It's a great. So yes, this is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Just for background information, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is actually a doctor. She's a doctor of no, she's an actual doctor. I looked her up. She's actually got a medical degree of some variety. Some sort of surgical thing, if I remember right. Definitely not in. I don't think in like disease or like she's not an epidemiologist of any sort. She's not. She just has a degree in some sort of surgical thing. If I not that like not to say that her degree isn't like worth anything. It's just it's not necessarily in the field that she's about to talk a whole lot about. So she's talking outside of her field, just about as much as I'm talking outside of my field. Because she really just does this isn't disease is not necessarily, especially not pandemics and epidemics are not really her thing. I have no idea what I am because it depends on where you draw the line between millennials and Gen Zs. There is a line somewhere. I think 1982, 81, 80 something is you're on the younger side. It's in the 80s for millennials. So I'm technically a millennial. But I'm one of like the older millennials. Like the higher like the older millennials are like in their 40s now. Or sort of like getting close to their 40s like me. And then the younger millennials are like in their 90s. Is it 96 or 95? So like 25. Um so yeah, but yeah, you can I identify with whichever group you identify more with. I've identified with millennials quite a bit because it seems to be like yeah, we're the ones to blame for everything. Fun. I also love that millennials are perpetually like in their 20s, or people seem to think that millennials are perpetually in their 20s when like said older millennials are like bordering on 40, and even the youngest millennials are getting out of their 20s, which 1996 means I'm not a Zoomer though, so I'm going with that one. Not a Zoomer. No one wants to be a Zoomer. All right, a little bit more of Dr. Sherry.
Or this afternoon. I'm not exactly sure what time it is. So, but you're here. I'm here. They're all here. So this is a good thing.
That's good.
Doc, before we start, can you just lay out your credentials and your experience for people that for somehow have been living under a rock and don't know who you are?
So this is actually a really funny part because she does actually talk about her credentials, and not the scoff at her credentials. She's got credentials. She's a legit doctor. She's got credentials out there. But she's not what she's going to God, I need now. Sorry, I was just thinking. I need to name this stream like Ultra Karen. But yeah, so she talks a little bit about her credentials, and then talks a whole lot about like her appearances on like blog posts and shit, and it's hilarious. It's great.
Sure. I am an osteopathic medical doctor, and for those that don't know what a DO is like being an MD and a chiropractor. So we learn everything that we can do.
Oh no, she's a chiropractor. That's great. That's great. Chiropractic. Chiropractors are fantastic. Oh goodness. So, I hate this. I hate this so much. So entirely, I've been talking about this, and this is gonna derail things already. One of the things that I've complained a lot about work is the fact that I still have to go to work, even though like as much as I understand that my job is medically necessary. Essential is a different like line that I don't believe I fall into. Like I need like I'm like essential. Like I don't think that I necessarily should be somebody who should be doing work right now, which thankfully I'm not, but should be, which is what my job thinks that I should be working right now. And one of the things we were all the therapist and I, all of us were sitting around in my office talking about this, and one of the things that came up was one of the people was like talking about how it took a lot of effort for us to be able to be considered medically necessary services. And someone was like, yeah, like chiropractors had to fight to become medically necessary as well. And I was like, oh no, please don't stick us with chiropractors. That's just no bueno. Like, oh, they are bad. They are bad. Unfortunately, a lot of people at work do kind of go to chiropractors, and they always tell me, oh, I got a chiropractor appointment today for my back. It's just like, God, we work in a hospital, guys. We have really good physical therapy here. Like I've been to physical therapy at our hospital. It's really good. You guys should go there instead. Please don't go to chiropractors. Oh, it's real bad. Hello, Christy. How are you? Of course we missed you. Hello, Gio. You do see a cat. Look at him. He's so cute. I wish he'd flip around the other side so you could see his face. But, you know, you can see his just... He's just all tuckered out today. I don't care what degree she has. She lost the right to call herself a doctor years ago. Yeah. I forget because I've talked about this before with like Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil, and I don't remember if they have real. I think they do have real doctorates. Like they do. They have things. Same with like Jordan Peterson, who's also got an actual doctorate, right? Like these people actually, I think they all have real doctorates. And how like there's definitely a point where like you definitely do not care about your degree and all the work you put into your degree, because you are just like you are pushing such garbage that you very 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 clear. I think Jordan Peterson is one of them. He's, as far as I'm concerned, he should have his doctorate just taken away, because fuck that guy. He like the amount of harm that he's done to honestly to psychology is just, it's disgusting, and the amount of harm that like he should not. The suggestions that he has made as a doctor to people that are genuinely harmful suggestions like he is doing that kind of harm, and I think you could easily make the argument for Dr. Sherry here too, also, because like there's a certain point where if you're going to use your doctorate, you're going to for that reason to like harm people, then it should just be taken away. Like, fuck you, fuck all of your work. You're harming people. Dr. Oz has Dr. Phil is not a medical doctor, but he does have a PhD in psych. Dr. Oz can't spell his own name, so I wouldn't trust him. Yeah, I wouldn't trust Dr. Oz. Did Jordan Peterson get out of his coma yet? I think so. The last time I heard anything about Jordan Peterson related, he was whatchamacallit, he was enjoying his like time off by standing around looking real sad outside. He was enjoying his time off, or like his quarantine time or whatever. And somebody had a picture of him like just sitting outside looking miserable, and they're like, look at how much of a blast Jordan Peterson is. I was really sad because he was very clearly not happy. Dr. Phil isn't allowed to practice. Good. That's fantastic. I don't think he should. God, so many doctors who should not be allowed to practice. Does anyone here watch Cass Ares' channel? She's a psychological professor taking 12 rules apart paragraph by paragraph. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I'm gonna add that keyboard thing. I'm gonna have to add that to a thing. Where I have a cat. Cass Ares. Cass Ares. All right, gonna check out Cass Ares later on, because I do. God, like that. I don't even want to read that book. God, Jordan Peterson is such a fucking. He's just the worst. That's pretty much all I can say. After her stream, we play games. Awesome. I kept calling Jordan Peterson Jeffrey Peterson because I forgot his name. All the TV doctors do piss. They are all the worst, especially right now, because I know a lot of them have come out and said some real stupid shit. Especially with quarantine things, and that should just not be allowed. Like, honestly, should just not be allowed at all. I don't know what you can do about it, but like, find the fuckers. Take, like, I know some of them have gotten their like credential, or not credential, their ability to like practice taken away, but God. He lost it in large part because he revealed personal info about Britney Spears. I'm glad he lost it. I mean, not good for Britney Spears, but I'm glad he lost it. But yeah, a lot of these doctors are just fucking hacked, which is such a shame, because like, being a doctor is no easy feat. And to spend like all this time to get to that point, to being a doctor just to be an idiot, is one of the tragedies of humanity, I swear. Like that one doctor that works for like Answers in Genesis or whatever, like that. It's just simple. The medical boards do their fucking job. Yeah. Okay, so with all of that said, we are going to keep moving. Oh my God, hi buddy, we're so cute.
As an MD, and then you also learn biomechanical medicine like a chiropractor. So DO, in my opinion, is kind of like the best of both worlds. My first career, I was the director of an emergency.
Fix camera here real quick now that Hobbs has decided to abandon us, which I don't blame. Honestly, like blame him, no. And then he goes out the window. It's been fun. I have to figure this out. I have to figure this out.
Department, a level 2 trauma.
I took the screen off my window, so Hobbs and people wandering around. I feel like one of the greatest lies we tell ourselves is that people with degrees aren't actually just like like to be as morons as anybody else. Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot. When you have to be, it takes a lot of work to get a PhD. Like, it's not like it's easy. I don't know how much hard work correlates to intelligence, but it definitely takes a lot of hard work. I don't necessarily think that people like Peterson or Oz or Phil are necessarily idiots. I think they're rather unscrupulous. Is probably a better word for it. Like, I don't think that Peterson's an idiot. I think he's rather smart. But he's using his powers for evil. Which is the problem. It's like that's kind of the biggest problem, is that I think they're just smart. They're just, they're lawful evil. Yeah, it does take a lot of work to get a PhD. Some of the dumbest people I know are the hardest workers, and that is no way an insult. Yeah, and then again, smart is not like smart is not like it's not like a single bar, right? It's not like intelligence is this thing. Is that like intelligence is complex, and being intelligent in one thing doesn't make you necessarily smart in another thing. Your brain does the compartment thing, where you can be really smart about one thing and really stupid about other things. So that's one of the things that, like, I always forget his name, Dr. Lyle, or I think that's his name, Dr. Lyle, who's the astrophysicist. Like, he's got a doctorate in astrophysics, if I remember right, and works for like Answers in Genesis. And so he's obviously is smart enough to understand these concepts of physics that are extremely abstract and difficult to get your head around, right? He's that smart, but he's also a real idiot and believes that the earth is only 6,000 years old. So intelligence is not a one-way streak. It's I don't know, more like a spectrum. Like, what's the color wheel? More like a color wheel than anything else. multi point spectrum kind of dealio. Peters, that's something I struggle with when I get my mom struggle to get my mom to understand. Yeah. There's both an intelligent and wisdom score. Yep. Like, Snake's fucking DNA is a very drugs take. Yeah. And I could see a lot of Jared Peterson's takes just being drug induced. I mean, he does abuse, or has, I don't know if he still is doing, but he does clearly abuse drugs. So yeah. So yeah, your intelligence is not a one score, right? Which is why things like IQ is dumb, because intelligence isn't a single score. That's all. Okay. With all that said, let's. She was saying something about being a chiropractor and how it's better, like it's the best of both worlds kind of deal.
In my opinion, is kind of like the best of both worlds. My first career, I was the director of an emergency department, a level 2 trauma center for 12 years in Findlay, Ohio. I moved to Cleveland in 1996 to open an integrated health center, which I'm always proud to say we've had people from all 50 states and about 18 foreign countries to come to our clinic and get well and get off their pharmaceutical drugs. We
She's so Okay, she's one of those. Getting off your drugs, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's always an interesting question. I've had this. This is always such a fun discussion. Is it germ theory denialist? Oh my goodness. Getting off your drugs, is it good? I don't know what kind of drugs she's talking about. Getting off your drugs, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Is, I think, up to not necessarily debate, but up to personal opinion. It's a debate that psych drugs are always a big. I'm not drinking beer. Jeez Louise, no wonder I'm making sense. Psych drugs are always a big one. Like, I personally don't like being on antidepressants, so I try very hard to avoid being on antidepressants. They're no fun. For me, they're no fun. At least the ones that I've had, are no fun. So I tried my best to avoid them. So I find like alternatives, but I'm also in the state, like, I mean, I'm in a state that I don't need them to function, right? And that's fine. That's fine for me, and that's okay for me. But I would never ever feel comfortable to say that just because I find it beneficial for me to be off of antidepressants, for me to tell someone else that they should be off antidepressants because I can do it, right? Or because person X can do it, or because whatever, right? Like, it's such an individualized thing. I don't like ADHD meds. They make me feel out of my body. I've known a lot of people who don't like them. I've known people who decided they didn't want to be on their ADHD drugs, meds at all. And so they found other ways to learn how to cope. So they learned other coping mechanisms, so they wouldn't have to be on their ADHD meds because they didn't like them. They didn't like the way they made them feel. That's fine. Again, individual. If you don't like them and you can find a way to be able to live your life without them, fantastic. If you can't, because whatever reason that might be, that's fine. Like, if you like if you need it to be, and there's plenty of people whose depression is severe enough that like that they need it, they need like antidepressants, ADHD severe enough that they need it to just be able to function for whatever reason. If that's what you need, it's what you need, and there shouldn't be any reason for you to get off of for you to have to get off of them just because some random ass lady on the internet says that you should. I can't live without Klonopin. I don't know what that one does. I wouldn't be here without God, all these meds. Methylphenidate. Okay. I'm similar with ADHD drugs. Never took them, so I really don't want to go on them. But I won't hate people who need them to function. Yeah. There's no reason to be shaming people for needing. Sorry, I'm gonna read. Shame people for needing to have them or wanting. Hell, even wanting to. I don't think you should shame people for wanting to have them. It was one of the harder parts when I did get on antidepressants a few years, 9 years ago, when I was on antidepressants. One of the roughest parts about it was when I went to live with my parents, because my mom did not remotely approve of the fact that I was on antidepressants. She tried the religious route. She tried the homeopathic route with me. So she tried a lot of these other things with me to try to get me off my antidepressants, which I did not appreciate very much. For her to try so hard. I was very attached to my antidepressants because they kind of make life easy sometimes. And so that kind of stuff I don't appreciate, and I don't think even for like how much necessity it is, like just if people want to make the adult decision of I don't want to be on drug X, then I don't appreciate like trying to force them out of it or whatnot. Just even if they want to, even if they don't need it, they just want to because it makes their life better, then that's great. So that's good. Oh, we got a beer. I forgot it. We do have a beer. It's just not a beer of the week because I've had this one before, but it is an excellent beer. Shout out to Lucky Bucket, who every once in a while retweets my tweets about them because they're fucking awesome. They have a $20 case sale, so if you're in the Omaha area, they have $20 for a whole case, which is 4 6-packs, which is some amount of beer that I can do math. 24 beers, so it's just a little bit over $1 a beer for really good microbrew. So we got Lucky Buckets Certified Evil. It's an Imperial Oatmeal Stout. I think I did this one like years ago. It's one of my favorite beers. It smells great. So we're gonna start drinking now. Tried scrubbing it out. Tried spraying it out. Oh no. I'm off my anti-D meds at the moment. Thinking of going back on them. Yeah. I haven't felt the need to go back on them lately, so I'm gonna try to stay off of them. But you know, if you need to, you need to, and that's fine. And the ones that I was on was rather low dosage. I think it was low dosage Lexapro, which already Lexapro is not even like super high up on the med counts, but it was just no fun. Like, oh god, especially like it takes like 2 weeks to get into your system. And the first night you take them, at least with Lexapro, I don't know how this works for other meds, but at least with Lexapro, like the first night you take them, your body just goes fucking nuts and it's fucking awful. You're supposed to take it at night for the next like once a day, at least the one I had once a day at night. And the first night that I took it, I could not sleep. Like, oh god, and then you get off of it. I got off of it and then got back on it, and I took it again like first night, and it was it makes everything awful. If you can't make your own biomolecules, perfectly fine to buy some. Exactly. One of the things that I've seen a lot of buying biomolecules from kind of reminding me of is whatchamacallit, like surgery, because like surgery for just sort of like not necessary purposes, whatever that means, right? So like especially cosmetic surgery, and a lot of debate about like one of the things that I hear a lot of course about is like children having surgeries at too young and whatnots, and how like just making surgery is just kind of a thing that should be like, yeah, it's fine, it's your body, right? You change it to whoever you want to be. And I think making those kinds of things more more readily available would be fantastic for whatever, like not even gender affirming, but like, hey, you want to have this kind of surgery and have this kind of, like, do it, whatever. Why do people care is a big question. Okay, here we go.
We have 13 employees. We, even in the shutdown, thank God, we're still open for business and we're still seeing patients.
Oh, that is. You are not medically essential, lady. that is bothersome.
And so I've been doing that since 1996. I went to a conference in the National Vaccine Information Center meeting in Washington, D.C. in September of 2000. And I learned that there were problems associated with vaccines, which I had never really investigated before. When I came home from that meeting, I said, I should probably look into this. Maybe I should start with the CDC documents. Maybe I'll start with the mainstream medical journals and see what I can find. Well, that has led me on a nearly 20-year odyssey and more than 40,000 hours worth of research into problems associated with vaccines. So I kind of, as
I do. I just gonna stop her because I gotta talk about things. I do always find it fascinating. I think Paul on the Plane did this too. Everybody does this. I couldn't even say Paul on the Plane. How hours spending hours researching like going down the rabbit hole of conspiracy nonsense is somehow considered a good credential. like that's a good thing, right? Like spending hours and hours and hours surrounding yourself with anti-vaxxer stuff, like somehow doing that makes you makes you more credible about it, rather than sort of pointing out the obvious that you're just kind of what's it called, information bias. You just you know, if all you do is surround yourself with the things that confirm what you already thought, then you know that's what happens. Depends on the company. There's some pretty high yield E. coli systems for it. These conspiracy nuts think everything is fake. Everything is fakes, Jesse James. Everything is super fake. Which I just find so fascinating. I think I talked about this last week, but like the post that's been going around the Twitters of like people being all scared of electrical poles and whatnots when they were first being set up, and how they were gonna do the thing where they destroyed and took everything away is no different than 5G stuff. It is everything's a conspiracy because everything's always a conspiracy. It's so like I don't even understand like at what point you can stop saying that everything is made up. Like I know that there's some people who even say like there's there's definitely flat earthers who will go so far as to this was a thing a couple of years ago where flat earthers will always yell that the Flat Earth Society is just a what's it called, was set up by the CIA or the FBI or whatever to make flat earthers look bad. Not that they really need any help with that. And then it got to the point where even like the modernish flat earthers, the Jeranism psyop, thank you. The modernish flat earthers, the Jeranisms, the Morgiles, those kind of flat earthers were accusing each other of being a psyop, so they were all working for the government. Like, and that became a giant schism in the flat earth community for a while, which is hilarious because like that's what happens when you think everything's fake, when you think everything's a conspiracy, then all you can do is look around at the things around you and say, oh yeah, no, even though this is a flat earther who agrees with me, he's part of the psyop because he doesn't agree enough with me, or things like everyone's part of the psyop. There was I know Patricia Steer got like pretty much driven out of the flat earth community because of this, because of her her stance on not stance, but because like everyone was like, no, she is part of the psyop, she is part of one of the bad ones, and it's hilarious. Crazy people be crazy, it's true. Maybe that's where all the stories goes. I mean, also because she has a vagina. It's true. Part of the psyop to make already think he's got friends. Yeah. Need more online friends. All right, here we go.
I really kind of tout myself as one of the internationally known experts on problems with vaccines. I've written 2 books. I've written innumerable articles, blog posts. I've spoken at conferences all over the world and done literally hundreds, maybe hundreds of radio interviews, podcast interviews, television interviews, trying to.
So this is the part that I find really hilarious, right? Because if you're going to tout your credentials, right, you're going to say, look, this is why I'm an expert at subject X. Especially a medical expert on subject X. I find it hilarious that the credentials that she decides to tout, or I have written thousands of blog posts, done thousands of interviews, have talked to thousands of people. And not a single time has she mentioned how many peer-reviewed papers she's got, how many hospitals besides the running the whatever the one hospital, how many, like how much she's participated in research on vaccines, how much she's done, like all of that is just gone. Like it's just not there. And it's not there because she hasn't done that, right? She hasn't actually done the legitimate stuff that should make you question vaccines, right? If she really had that stuff, right, if she really had like the research to back up what she's saying, then that's what she would be touting. She would be touting, I've been published in Microbiology Monthly or whatever. I don't know what, you know, and infectious diseases bi-weekly or whatever the fuck these things are. She would be touting those. She would be touting each one of the papers that she's written, all the research that she was done. That's what she should be. And even if she hasn't even if she hasn't done the research, right, which she should, if she's gonna be all like, I'm the expert in this, she should at the very minimum be pointing to the people who are. Be like, oh yeah, you know, Dr. So and so over at the, you know, whatever university has been doing research on vaccines and modern research on vaccines, but she can't even do that. She can't even bother with that. Reviewed by other bloggers who are in fact her peers. Yeah. When peer reviewed, when people think that peer reviewed means just reading other people read your paper, it's hilarious. There was I know flat earthers try to do this. They try to do the like a peer reviewed journal that was just like Jeranism and his friends. It's like, yeah, we'll read your papers and then we'll review them, and then we can say it's peer reviewed. Which I just found hilarious. Being in the Illumina seems like a pretty sweet gig. I've been trying to get an application for years. It's true. Who was it? Somebody posted a I think it might have been Sideman. No, not Sideman Dad. It was an American. I think it was an American. Posted a picture of their stimulus check, not like the check they actually got, but like the deposit they got in their account for like the stimulus money, and then like it had like NASA Shilfa, like Shill check, and like all these other checks, and it was hilarious. Oh goodness! All right, here we go. More Karen.
Sow the seeds to let people know that vaccination is not a religion. You can't say I believe in vaccines, and to let people know that the vaccines are not safe. They've never been proven to protect you from getting sick, and they definitely can cause harm.
Again, the peer-reviewed research would say otherwise. Like, oh gosh. She flushes her peers down the toilet. Yeah. Oh, Karen. I'm amazed that like at this day, right? Like, God, this is my problem with every time we do sciencey things. How often how often it's just like it's never been proven is a thing that's just flat out said and never demonstrated, right? Which granted is really hard to demonstrate that it's never been proven. Of course, the research behind it would tell you differently. The fact that things like just the fact that chickenpox doesn't exist. I mean, you could do polio and measles and any number of other diseases, but just the fact that they really no longer exist, just really goes to show you that the vaccines do work. Like, chickenpox was a thing, right? Like up until what, like the 90s, mid 90s, Yeah, I know, but like we don't get it. Like up until what, the mid 90s, everybody still got chickenpox. I don't know, maybe this is only true in the States, but in the States, like kids don't get chickenpox. Like I got chickenpox. And I had to like go sit and quarantine myself for like a week or whatever. But like kids these days, there's an actual like chickenpox vaccine now, and kids don't actually get chickenpox, at least not like we used to back even like whatever 30 years ago. when kids actually got chickenpox. Like you're like if you're in like the like 30 and over, probably like 25 and over range, you remember people getting chickenpox. Like you remember like how you got it, and then like your whole neighborhood got it, and everybody had chickenpox. Um, you don't vaccinate for chickenpox? Oh, okay. We do in the States. As I have found out. And I get asked this because it's one of those questions that I get like I had a show when I started my job at the hospital. I had a show that I've got, like, it doesn't, like, I never got a chickenpox vaccine, so I had to like show my medical records showing that I had like chickenpox, and had immunity from that rather than immunity from the vaccine. But like when I was a teacher, I noticed that a lot of the kids, like, nobody got chickenpox and everyone had a chickenpox vaccine. It was really weird. But yeah, in the States, people don't get chickenpox, at least not like they did when I was a kid. I can remember which two of the three chickenpox, measles, and mumps I got as a kid. I can never remember. Oh, which of the three? Yeah, the measles the same way, right? Like, and of course they're not legitimately gone, right? Like diseases still exist, measles still exist, chickenpox still exists, mumps still exist, right? But the fact that they, like, you can tell, right? Like they exist. The places they exist are like anti-vaxxer places, right? Like we saw a giant decrease in measles for a very long time, and then anti-vaxxers took over, not took over, but started talking about it, and then measles broke out again because people weren't getting vaccinated for measles, and people were exposing themselves to measles because they're idiots. And so like the fact that those kind of trends exist really goes to show you that it probably does work. But yes, there's polio and smallpox and whatever other ones that still, like, I don't really exist and get them anymore. Like the fact that they've gone away really goes to show you these things do work. So okay. With that said,
how well did that go over with your colleagues or your family or your close personal friends when you finally realized and started all those hours of research?
My close personal friends who trusted me, when I started telling them that what I was reading was from peer-reviewed mainstream medical journals, I wasn't getting my information.
I sincerely done that. We should take all the idiots and push them somewhere else. Smallpox and Rainer pest was the only two diseases we have eradicated. Rainer pest, I've never heard of that one. Sounds made up word. It does sound like a made up word. Not gonna lie, it sounds made up. Let's look it up. Rinderpest? Rinderpest? I don't even know how to say it. Rinderpest. Oh, that's a thing. It is a thing. Rinderpest, also cattle plague or steepmurium, was an infectious viral disease of cattle, domestic buffalo, and many other species of even-toed ungulates, including buffaloes, large antelope, deer, giraffes, wild wildebeest, and warthogs. Ooh. Cattle plague. Yep, that's it's cattle plague. I didn't know that. Okay. That's kind of cool. Huh. Oh, there's a Washington Post about it from 2011 that says rinderpest or cattle plague becomes the second disease eradicated. Ah, super cool. Yeah, lots of neat. There we go. Ah. All words are made up. All words are made up. Like language is a social construct. Everything's a social construct. Time isn't real anymore. God, I've been struggling with time. So I haven't left. I left my apartment yesterday to go buy some medicine for my wife, but I haven't like left my apartment in like days. I don't leave my apartment for days, and it's really fucking with me. Like I have to check the date all the time to make sure that I know what day of the week it is. I have no idea what day of the week it is because I do the same thing every goddamn day. I'm going slightly crazy. So here's to not doing it for too much longer, even though I doubt that. Measles still very much exists. It kills like a lot of people per year. Yeah. Yeah. So we have a lot of things that don't exist, but French is the only real language they have ever academy and everything. Yep. All right, more of Dr. Sherry.
from conspiratology.com, and I wasn't like going down conspiracy theory alley looking for that. I was reading things from the New England Journal and from JAMA and Pediatric Infectious Disease Journal, because after I left the National Vaccine Information Center meeting, that meeting in September that I went to, Kathy Williams, one of the co-founders, became a really good friend of mine. And she said, you know, Sherry, you're a physician. You can.
Kathy Williams. Should we look her up? Look up Kathy Williams. Kathy Williams. Kathy Williams. Who is she? Who are you, Kathy Williams? I doubt you're this Kathy Williams. Are you this Kathy Williams? Nope. I doubt Kathy Williams was an African American soldier who enlisted in the United States Army under a pseudonym William Kathy. She was the first black woman to enlist. Oh. That's cool. Okay, well, you taught me about a Kathy Williams. I don't think it's the same Kathy Williams you were talking about. I'm really curious about who this person is.
Read the medical journals and use their information against them. You don't have to guess. You don't have to go down to conspiracy theories. You can read what's really out there. And quite frankly, Richie, the more that I read, the further I went down the rabbit hole. I kept thinking sooner or later, I would find something that made sense. Sooner or later, I could find a reason for why we inject foreign matter into little babies and somehow think it's going to improve their health. So
like, that's how I'm confuzzled because you're like, what? Like, oh, I'm real confuzzled by why you think it wouldn't work. Like, you really would have to deny so much to say that it wouldn't work. I'm very, very confused. Arguably, that's how feeding baby works. It's true. I mean, you're not wrong. Like, I mean, you're not right. You're not wrong. Like, that's how feeding works. I mean, that's how what's the thing you get when you get sick, that they like, when you're God, like, you get an IV of nutrients or whatever the fuck it's called. Like, that's how that works, right? But I guess it doesn't work according to her, because it shouldn't make you better. So, like, this is how, like, I know that injecting isn't the only way to take medicine, but this is like how medicine works, lady. Like, all medicine, not just vaccines, but like all medicines work this way. You don't inject babies with food. I don't know. Well, there is a food that you inject, and it's not actually food. It's the thing. Like, God damn it! I wish I remembered. I wish I knew more medical terms. For someone who works at a hospital, I really don't know a whole lot of medical terms. But like, yeah, this is like how most medicine works. I inject, like, if the only problem with it is the injecty bit and not the like the what's inside. Like, I'm just like, do you just not believe in injections? Like, is penicillin not, like, do you not believe penicillin works? I'm super. I guess you can't take penicillin in pill form, can't you? Like, Like, this is so much of medicine. I'm baffled. I am baffled at somebody who has a doctorate, like a medical doctorate too, doesn't, like, just made that sentence that entirely contradicts, like, all of medicine, right? That entirely, like, that is medicine. Because it's got scary sounding things in him. She doesn't have an MD. Oh, she doesn't. No, she's just. What? I thought she did. And she like a what is Jerry Tenpenny, right? I don't know. Jerry. My demons. Jerry Tenpenny. There it is. Jerry Tenpenny. There we go. There she is. Jerry Tenpenny has osteopathic physician. Got a physician. Does she not have an MD then? Okay. I don't know how these things work, so I wouldn't be surprised. Osteopathic medicine degree from some place. Pretzel quit unexpectedly. Okay. Okay, Pretzel. He has a DO. Oh yeah, she even talked about this. She does have a DO. She even mentioned that she's got a DO. Which is better than, which is not actually better, but she says it's better than it. I remember now. She talked about it. All right.
So when I started telling this to friends and family members, they were shocked. They weren't like, well, what about polio and what about smallpox that you hear from the uninformed all the time? They were like, tell us more. This is really what you're finding?
The uninformed who were like, what about smallpox? What about polio, which we basically don't have. This is also really sad. This obviously this was from what, like 2 days ago? Yeah, 15th. So that was what, Thursday, Wednesday. 70K in Michigan protesting, which is, God, we're all gonna die. Like, I don't know how else to put it besides we're all gonna die. Oh God, for the love of God, put a topic. What is this about? Oh, I don't put a topic because I don't know what the topic is going to be until we start the show, which is why I don't. If you just write, I could maybe try to figure. I could edit the topic, but we choose a topic at during the stream, so I never know what we're going to talk about until we actually start talking about it. But we are talking about this is Richie. Next to Richie is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is an anti-vaxxer. She's actually a doctor, has a DO, as we have figured out. I have figured out. She's got a DO. Not an MD, but a DO. And she's an anti-vaxxer. So far has said some silly things like that it's crazy to think that sticking foreign things inside of your body would make you feel better or make you better, which is like, I don't want to give it a percent, but it's like most of medicine. Like most of medicine is sticking shit in your body and making yourself feel better. Like, I know, like, that is medicine. Like, I know there's more to it, right? Like, entirely simplifying medicine, but at the end of the day, it's sticking shit inside of you and making yourself feel better. So she's against medicine. So I was like, while she runs a clinic. So yeah. These streams don't have a topic, they have a seed for going on tangents. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, Sad, but I don't know what the topic's going to be week by week. That's all. Like, I just don't. I really should, but it's always the same show. Same show, same nonsense. I think the last hour we've gotten through like a minute of the video. We're at 4 minutes, which I think we started at like 12:20 or so. Like, we started actually, so we're doing pretty good. All right. Okay. Yes. Michigan protests. That's what I was talking. Protests are happening. We're all gonna die, and it's fucking awful. I can't. Oh God. We're all gonna die. I just can't anymore. Like, oh God, well, I saw a picture. I think I retweeted it out, but I saw a picture earlier of like a restaurant in Texas that opened up, like they opened up their patio and whatnots. And it really like somebody commented, like, it really shows you that like the protesting to reopen the U.S. have really been not about people wanting to go back to work, which I'm sure plenty do. Like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who would like to have money again, right? Because $1,200 or whatever the fuck we got is not enough to sustain anybody for like a month, right? Like my wife and I got like $2,400 together, which is great for us. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. Maybe not go to work because fuck my job at the moment. But like, I still have a job, so I'm not suffering. But I'm fairly certain people do want to go to work, but it seems to be that the majority of people aren't like people who the majority of people who are protesting aren't people who want to go back to work. They're people who want to send other people to go back to work so that they can go back to restaurants and they can get their hair done and they can go do all the things. It's just insane. You could use $1,200 to finally buy a good computer. I like my computer. She's great, and she's a little hurt at the moment. She'll do fine. She's actually holding up really well, so I'm pretty happy with that. Really wasn't certain how well she was going to hold up, but she's holding up really well today. I am a little sad though. At least at the moment, when I get the hard drive fixed up. I had to upgrade to Catalina, and Catalina, like the OS Catalina, is no longer supporting 32-bit software, which means that like 90% of my Steam games don't work. really upset about that. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to do that. I might now that I've gotten pretty good at booting from a hard drive, I might do like a Mojave version and have it set aside so that I can play Steam, because I'm annoyed at that. Like Steam, oh, god damn it, it's unfortunate. So a lot of my games on Steam don't work. I have been playing Bridge Portal, but Portal doesn't work. There's a lot of other ones that don't work that I was recently playing. Let's see. Not that this has like anything to do with anything, because reasons. But I was playing like One Step from Eden, which I don't know if I can yeah, I can still play that one. There's a few that I still play, but like Portal 1, Portal 2 I can't play. Psychonauts I can't play, which I haven't played in a while, but still. Sakura Dungeon I can't play, which I really wanted to because boobs. So there's definitely quite a few that I can't play anymore, which makes me a little sad. I can't play Shadow Man or Shadow Warrior. Well, that's real sad because I was really enjoying those. Oh well. So yeah, so a lot of the 32-bit games that I was playing beforehand, like, that really sucks. Really sucks. Check out Light Matter. Check out Light Matter. Light Matter. Is that a game? Is that a game? Google. Check out Light Matter. Light Matter. Is that a game? It is a game. Look at that. Huh. A first-person puzzle where shadows kill you. Oh, that sounds fun. Your step to be swallowed by the darkness. Neat. Very neat. It's on Steam. $19 on Steam. And this is entirely. It's only for Windows. I might have to. I did notice that Steam said that once you buy it, like you buy it for all platforms, you buy it for platforms, like for the whole platform, like for any platform that game is. So potentially being able to run like a Windows boot disk would be kind of, so yeah, so I might be able to do that. I will have to buy more hard drives. Is what that's turning into. But yes, okay. So sorry. None of that had anything to do with anti-vaxxers, but you know, we're back on anti-vaxxer stuff.
So within 6 months, I had created 2 courses. One was for parents and one was for physicians. And it was really more naturopaths, chiropractors, and acupuncturists, really not.
That says everything. The fact that like that you had to explain how your lectures were not actually for real doctors, but were instead for fake doctors it like says it all, right? Like it was for, oh god, I have to go back because that's hilarious. That's really funny. Oh,
This is really what you're finding. So within 6 months, I had created 2 courses. One was for parents and one was for physicians. And it was really more naturopaths, chiropractors, and acupuncturists, really not the mainstream medical people.
I love that so much. It's for acupuncturists and it's for fake doctors. I came up with a lesson. It is not for real doctors. It's only for the fake ones. I like, thank you for admitting it, I guess. Like, great way, like, honestly, like, thank you so much for admitting that at least you're not trying to like aim for real doctors. You're like, no, never gonna convince those guys about my shit, so I'm gonna target the fake ones instead. Oh, you are a hoot, lady. You are a hoot.
And I spent, there was a supplement company in California
Oh, no.
that
Sorry, this is already getting worse. There's a supplement company. Oh no. Oh no.
hired me to teach all of the people who were their customer base. And for 2
Oh no. It's getting better. Oh no. So, oh no. You got your oh no, you got a supplement you teach their customers. Like, this tells you so much, lady. Like, this just really legitimately tells you so much about the shit that you believe in. Like the fact that one, when you designed your course, it couldn't be designed for real doctors. You had to design it for fake doctors. And two, that the way that you had to promote your course to fake doctors was through a supplement company. Like all of this is just beautiful. you just gold right here. Oh god, oh god.
2 years, every other weekend, I was on the road somewhere speaking at a seminar, talking to holistic practitioners, chiropractors, naturopaths, acupuncturists, nurse practitioners, the rare and occasional MD or DO on problems associated with vaccines. So I've been doing this for
I love it. I love this so much. This is art. Like I can't. There's nothing more for me to say besides like your clientele tells you exactly everything you need to know about the crazy shit you're selling.
for, like I said, almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years in September.
Let me ask you this. I didn't get a chance to run this by you before we went live. It just recently came to my attention, and I'm going to guess many people don't know this. The CDC is a privately owned for-profit company. I did not know that.
And they have.
Are they really? I didn't think they were. I'm gonna have to check that up. Is the CDC Google do the thing? CDC privately owned. Is that a thing? Private company, privately owned. Also, the CDC Foundation was chartered by Congress. It is not a government agency, nor is it a division of CDC. Let's read this. Partnering with CDCs. Ethical considerations for public-private partnership. For more than half a century, CDC has been a leader of scientific research and committed to project to protect the American people and keep Americans healthy and safe, secure. CDC works with private sector because public-private partnerships advance CDC's mission for protecting Americans. These partnerships allow us to accomplish more working together than separately. These agencies pledge the American people include being a diligent steward before accepting outside gifts. CDC reviews each thing. Doesn't actually answer my question. This is about CDC partners. So this is like not at all. This is not answering. So the CDC Foundation is private, but not, this has nothing to do, like the CDC's separate. I think. Am I reading this wrong? Yeah, the season by Sword. I mean, obviously it is, right? Like, so yeah, so there's like a part of the CDC that seems to be like a private thing that works with private companies. Yeah. So I mean, this is I'm not sure how much you can read here. Let's grab that video. How much? I'm not sure how much you all can read. Probably not a whole lot. Put it there. There we go. Okay, so I'm not sure how much you can read anyway, but it pretty much says on the screen, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention is a leading national public health institute of the United States. It is a United States federal agency under the Department of Health and Human Services, and its headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. So according to Wikipedia, it's definitely a government agency. It sounds like there are parts of the CDC that aren't government agencies. That's like that do work with like outside companies and whatnot. So, but like the CDC itself is a federal agency. Like, so the CDC Foundation, which seems to be the thing that she's talking about, the thing that popped up up here, is that seems to be private. And it's a private non-profit organization classified as this 501c. This is according to the CDC themselves. So so I just, okay. So no, so like that's just an outright lie. Like I have nothing else to say besides like that sounds like it's just an outright lie. more than anything else. Like you're just lying at this point, crazy lady. It's owned by Gerald T. Deep State, and so Wikipedia, that's why it's lying to you. The foundation is not part of the CDC. Gerald is her dead name. Yeah, so no. So no. Now you're just making, I mean, not just now, but we've gotten to the blatant lying part. Hilarious. Yeah, so no, yeah, it sounds like there is a thing called the CDC Foundation, which sounds a whole lot like the CDC, right? Which I can understand your confusion without bothering to look this up if somebody said the CDC Foundation is privately owned and for profit, which is also wrong. Like you said it was for profit, which is also wrong. But what you said wasn't the CDC Foundation. You said the CDC. God, it's just like goddamn, like the goddamn. That's real bad. It sounds like the CDC Foundation does have something to do with. It has like it's part of like what it looks like. It's a thing that helps them reach out to private companies. Like the foundation does that. That's their job. The CDC Foundation's job is to go out and look things up. The CDC Foundation helps the Center for Disease Control and Prevention do more faster by forging effective partnerships between CDC and other fight street health safety, whatever. Yeah. So like it's not part of it, but it helps out. Maybe it's part of it, but like it's not like it's I don't think they like control research or anything. They just help out. Well, I hope they do well. They should stop owning everything. It's annoying. All right.
They have a foundation too. They have a 501c3 foundation. They have a 501c4 lobbying arm, and in their 501c3 foundation, almost every major corporation that you can think of, whether it's in the healthcare, manufacturing, biomedical division or not, almost everybody is a member of their foundation, so they can shuffle money into them and get a tax deduction and shuffle it out in terms of grants on the other side.
Oh no! Like I'm not much like I'm not much for defending corporations, right? Like I don't want to defend corporations, but like if of all the shit the corporations do, this is probably the least shady shit that they do. I'm sure there's some shady shit in there too, because corporations and government, right? But this sentence sounds very different than what you started off with, because what you started off with was to say that the CDC was privately owned. Like that was your claim, that the CDC is privately owned, and then you used the fact that they work with private companies as evidence to why they are privately owned. Which does not follow. Just because the government works with private companies, and we can argue about the ethics of working with private companies and whether money laundering is happening back and forth and all that. Like, you know, the government contracts going out to your buddy's company, right, is not anything new, and I'm not going to be like defending that shit, right? Like we understand that happens, and we can argue all day about the ethics of doing that, but that sentence, the government is working with private companies, is very different than the government, this branch of the government, or not branch, but this department or whatever, right, is a private company. Like those two don't follow at all. Like it's annoying because I kind of agree with you that the CDC should probably not be working with companies as much as they do, and there's probably some things that are kind of shady going on there. I have to look up the validity of this one, but I have seen things like how much lobbying the like the NRA has done to ensure that like the CDC can't do things. Is it the CDC? I think it's the CDC. Can't do things like study gun violence and things like that. So like it's not like it's not a problem. It's just that it's not the problem you think it's the problem. That's it. A corporation. It's not. Yeah, it's a corporation. All right.
I just recently found this out. I had no clue whatsoever at all. So, what is your opinion seeing people, doctors like this, finally come out on the mainstream talking about getting the paperwork from the CDC where they're basically saying, yeah, broken arm just listed as COVID-19.
What? Oh no! If the government didn't work with private partners they used, wouldn't be able to function. We would have a lot of harder time doing things outside. Yeah. I mean, again, we could argue. We could argue. You should have carved me. Erectile dysfunction, COVID-19. Oh no! But he does have a tweet, and a tweet is definitely a thing. You probably can't read it on your screen, so I'll read it out to you because we all know how good I am at reading. Shocking! Minnesota Senator and Dr. Scott Jensen, looks like it, said that he received a 7-page doc from MN Health to fill out death certificates with diagnosis of COVID-19, whether the person actually died of COVID-19 or not. Why is MN inflating COVID-19 death numbers? And it looks like Chris Berg, the person with the check mark here, who's being highlighted here, is a host of Point of View with Chris Begg on West Dakota Live, Fox. He's Fox News affiliate. And that seems to be his thing. So Dr. Scott Jensen. God, now we have to look up Scott Jensen. We have to look up so many people. Scott Jensen. Go with that. Let's see what the articles have to say about this. Fact checked. Do the CDC guidelines reporting for deaths. Snopes. Oh, look, Snopes has an article on it. That's good. Let's see how much of that article can. Good amount. As CDC guidelines for reporting COVID-19, these are inflating numbers. An opinion issued by doctors serving in Minnesota's legislature gained traction with a right-wing news outlet. According to Snopes, this is false. On April 2020, Dr. Scott Jensen, a Minnesota physician who serves in the Minnesota State Senate, gave television interviews with in which he suggested that guidance issued by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to health care providers on how to properly fill out the death certificates for COVID-19 cases could artificially inflate the number of cases in the U.S. During an appearance on the Fox News Prime, the TV program Ingram Angle, Jensen stated that he believed the guidelines issued by the CDC were ridiculous. The determination of the cause of death is a big deal. It has an impact on the estate planning. It has an impact on future generations, Jensen told Laura Ingram. The idea that we're going to allow people to massage, and gain the numbers is a real issue because we're going to undermine the public trust. Oh, goodness. On April 13, 2020, the CDC National Center for Health Statistics issued guidance to physicians, coroners, and medical examiners who fill out death certificates to list COVID-19 as an underlying cause of death in the absence of a test, if the circumstances were compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty. That does not sound like it says that if you break your arm, you should be diagnosed with COVID-19 later. It does not say that at all so far. Not say that at all. I just learned about this. Let me speak on it with authority. I mean, COVID-19 is starting the balls. Oh no. Yeah, that's how just stuff like this works in a crisis situation. I mean, how do you decide whether or not something is COVID? Death is always going to be kind of arbitrary. Most people die of lung infection, and then so that the actual virus probably wasn't killed. Hardly anybody. But this logic, no one was ever died. Oh, it's the HIV thing. Yeah. Because you don't, and I get it, like you don't die of HIV, right? Like HIV doesn't kill you, but it just makes your immune system so, just destroys your immune system so bad that something else ends up killing you. Whatever, the flu or whatever, is the thing that kills you. And you could potentially, right, say no, the flu killed this person, not HIV, because HIV doesn't kill you. It doesn't act. It just makes it so that other things do. It just makes it easier for other things. So I do get that. Yeah. So yeah, it sounds like in the cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID-19 cannot be made, but is suspected or likely, the circumstances are compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty. It is acceptable to report COVID-19 on the death certificate as probable or presumed. In these instances, certificates should use their best clinical judgment in clinical judgment determining if COVID-19 infection was likely. However, please note that testing for COVID-19 should be conducted whenever possible. So far, again, this does not actually say what the doctor said here, nor what is actually being implied by the tweet or by Bob. Right? Is that his name? Bob? Dan? Whatever the fuck this guy's name is. Richie. It does not actually imply what Richie's saying. It does not imply what Cherry is saying. It just says, like, you don't know, but you're like, that really is what it says. If you don't know, you're not 100% certain, but you're fairly certain, or you have some amount of idea. Put it as a probable cause. It doesn't even say put it as the cause of death. Put it as a presumed or probable cause. So even within the actual guidelines, it doesn't actually say the things. God damn it, guys. This is why no one takes you serious. I mean, people, this is a problem. This sounds a lot like we don't want to underdiagnose. We want to waste test on corpses. Yeah. And potentially we might, right? It's one of those, like, better safe than sorry kind of things. Like, if we overdiagnose deaths, God, this is so many problems. The main problem is we wouldn't have this problem if we were testing people. But obviously, we're not testing people because we don't have enough tests, because there's too many people getting sick, and it's just a mess, right? So even so I was talking about this. So at, like, my job, we have I have restrictions about when I can or can't go into the actual clinic. One of them is if I have a fever, I can't go into work for like 2 weeks, right? And like, it can be that I have a fever from like an actual flu or something else that gets me sick, that gets me a fever, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't actually matter that I have that I got the flu or got a fever from something else. What matters is I got the flu, and they're not about to waste a test on that, so they're just gonna quarantine me. They're just gonna be like, nope, you just stay home, because that's a safer choice than to be like, maybe you got the flu for something else, or you got a fever for something else, just come into work, and then I was wrong, right? Like, the negatives of the negatives of a false negative, is that what it is? Assuming that it's a false negative is far more dangerous than assuming that it's a positive. I think I got that right. I think I got that right. So it's safer, and so yeah, there might be a little bit of over reporting. And it might turn out that there was maybe a lot of over reporting, but it's definitely not to the level that Richie is implying by saying that if you have a broken arm, they will put you down as COVID. That's not at all what's happening. Nowhere near what's happening. So, like, yeah. Also, a false negative is more harmful than a false positive. Yeah, that's also, yeah, no, that's true. That's also true. So yeah, if we just assume that I'm not sick, and assuming that I'm not sick, and I go to work and infect other people, that's way more dangerous than assuming that I'm sick and being wrong, right? Assuming that I'm sick and making me stay at home for 2 weeks is gonna suck for me for 2 weeks, right? Like, whatever, like, I'm stuck at home for 2 weeks, and that's gonna suck for me. But it's a safer option to assume that I'm sick than it is to assume that I'm not sick. That's just the world that we live in. I know you don't like it because you're anti-vaxxers and idiots, but that's just the world. That's just it.
I mean, it's not. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not all that much. They're saying anybody with anything, they've given them a handy form where they can simply check off COVID-19. Why are they juking the stats if this pandemic is so? It stopped the entire world for all.
They're not, Richie. You lying sack of shit. Like, I'm not even gonna be nice. You're a lying sack of shit. Like, that's not at all what's happening. That's not at all, like, nowhere near that is that happening. You're reading a headline from a stupid Fox reporter, which you should already know that's wrong, right? It's a headline. God, people need to read past headlines, because that's not at all what's happening, and you're spreading misinformation. God, you're such a lying piece of shit, Richie.
Well,
Over a month now.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what this physician said, because he was right. Because I remember about 2 days before he went live on this video, I remember seeing it from the CDC, and then also getting an email from the Ohio State Medical Board, because I'm located in Cleveland, Ohio. So, excuse me. So the same thing is what he said. I saw this, and they're like, if a patient is in the hospital with any type of comorbidity, whether it's heart problems, they've had lung conditions, they have COPD, they have asthma, they've had a perforated bowel, they had some sort of sepsis, and they die. If you suspect that maybe, just suspect, you don't have to test them, you don't have to swab them, you don't have to confirm it, but that perhaps they had been infected with the SARS-CoV virus, then you put down on the death certificate as one of the co-causes of death is the virus, is SARS-CoV or COVID-19. So they're stacking the deck to.
I mean, we've already talked about this. God, someone needs to find this woman and take away her practice. Like, just somebody needs to take that away. Depends if the treatment of what you're being tested for. I mean, yes, but in the thing that we're talking about, the virus name is SARS-CoV-2. Is it 2? Are we on 2 now? What the fuck? Why does Richie look like Thrive and Survive and Anaphylactic Shock? He does look like Thrive and Survive. I haven't watched Thrive and Survive videos in a while. I should do that. Take away both for real and fake. Yeah, that's the wrong virus. The SARS-CoV is the one that causes. Yeah. If you cannot get the difference, you have no point in giving medical advice. Yeah, she needs to I'm sure medical boards are kind of busy maybe they're not busy. I don't know what they're busy about, but this is definitely one of those that you need to like remove like this lady's ability to practice, because like she's goddamn. We're in talking about shit dangerously time. Oh.
To make it look like there's more and more people dying from this infection than what really is. It's like, if you suspect it, put it down as a potential cause of death.
Yeah, that's actually like as a potential cause of death, right? And you say it, and then you're probably going to ignore it. A potential cause of death is not saying this is the cause of death. It's a potential cause of death, because I don't know why you have to explain this to a doctor lady, but we have at least in a week ago, and we probably still do, a limited amount of tests in the U.S. What you are suggesting, Lady Pants, is that rather than use the test on people who are alive, right? Rather than have those tests for the people who might actually benefit from the test, that instead of using it on them, we should use it on the dead people. And like, respect dead people all you want, but at the end of the day, they're already dead. Like, you're gonna have no benefit besides statistics, right? Like, that's the only benefit you're gonna have, statistics. Besides that benefit, you're not actually going to have a benefit to that individual by testing it, besides jumping through a hoop just to satisfy conspiracy nuts. That's the only benefit you're going to get out of testing a dead person. Especially in a time when we have limited tests, right? This isn't like I could see this being a problem if we had like unlimited amount of tests. And even with unlimited amount of tests, we're still refusing to test for COVID-19 on people who are dead. Like, we're like, oh no, just mark them as having it. There's no reason for us to test them. We could maybe have a conversation, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is that we don't even have enough tests for the people who are alive. And testing is important. So we're just you just suggest that we don't do that. You just suggest that we do it just for the dead people, just so that your stupid conspiracy-ness can be taken care of. It's almost as if reporting during a pandemic can't prioritize accurate reporting at the moment. Yeah, we have more important things to worry about, lady. Many people have died from heart problems caused by the virus pneumonia. Yes, it's the same thing that we were like talking about before. Is like, how does one class, this is the what is it, like guns don't kill people, bullets do, like, kind of deal. Like, if like, or even not even bullets, right? Like, that person didn't die of being shot, that person died of bleeding out. Like, if you want to sit there and argue about how to define what cause of death is, we can sit here and do that, and it's just a giant waste of time, which I'm sure these doctors don't have time for. But yeah, no, if you want to sit there, you could say that there have been no gun death. Like, nobody in the U.S. has died of a gunshot, right? Because they didn't die of gunshot. They died of, blood loss, or they died of an infection or whatever, right? Bleeding out doesn't kill you. The lack of oxygen does, right? Like, it's not what's the other one? It's not the fall that kills you. It's the sudden stop that does, right? So people don't die from falling great heights. They don't, right? You don't die of falling. Falling doesn't kill you. It's stopping too quickly that does. Right? You can sit here and just change it all you want. It's but just sitting around playing semantic games about what actually killed this person isn't helpful right now. Like, that's not gonna help us when we have people dying in hospitals that are over that are not overbooked. That's not the right word. That are at capacity, right? Or over capacity in many places. Like, these kinds of arguments about figuring out exactly why somebody died doesn't help. But you want to have those arguments because you feel like because you're an idiot, not because you feel like it. It's just dumb. You're just dumb.
And really, seriously, what that physician said in that video, he's absolutely right. Never have any of us, I mean, I felt when I was an ER doc, I mean, I was the director of an ER and a level 2 trauma center for 12 years. I mean, you didn't have to put down as cause of death. I suspect that maybe it was like, no, this is what is the.
Yeah, you lady. Like, I appreciate that you worked at a trauma center or whatever the fuck you did, and you ran a thing, and that's fantastic. Good for you. Like, but you didn't do this during like, what part of things are different right now than when you ran a clinic or you helped run a trauma center? Like, when you helped run a trauma center, you probably, and I suspect, didn't have didn't have an absolute flood of individuals coming to your hospital or your emergency room. You didn't have that. You just didn't have that. So the fact that you dealt with a different situation, whatever, 25 years ago than what we're dealing with now, just says that the situation was different. It doesn't say anything about, like, we're not in normal anymore. Like, this is not the things that we used to do that we consider normal are not the things that we should be doing now. That's like the whole theme of COVID-19 is that this isn't normal. Otherwise, you could take the tribute to Ken Hovind, the logic used in the Ken Hovind series. You're fucked hard. That's true. Pandemics, and you will need to follow me here. Kind of extraordinary events. Yes, I know, right? Like, it's almost as if right now during a pandemic is different than 25 years ago during a non-pandemic. It's almost as if there might be something different. I'd be hard pressed to figure out what that difference is. But there's probably something different. Oh, goodness gracious.
The cause of death. This is what we know is the cause of death. Now, if it was a homicide or a drug overdose or an accidental chemical inducement or something like that they ended up doing an autopsy, I mean, you could put down, suspect drug overdose because you don't know what that was. So there were a little bit of latitude in that. But never did you get direction from your state medical board and from the CDC telling you to fudge the data.
You still haven't. You have still not gotten that. You've already got over this. You're just making shit up at this point, lady.
And people are still, like, helping push this fraud, even though we're showing the paperwork from the CDC where it's saying use the World Health Organization's. I mean, I can't see the wording because it's too small and it's too early, but it's.
People are still pushing this, even though, let me show you, and you can't read it. You can't. I can't read it. But let me tell you what it says. Oh, Richie. Oh no, he can say such things. Rhett is ever going through a crisis. I know, right? I do love it. I do love it. Like, he's surprised that people are still pushing this while there's so much evidence that he himself can't read. It's fantastic.
It's basically saying use COVID-19, even if there's any other type of
No!
Heart failure, lung disease, pneumonia, leukemia, anything. They wouldn't need to do this in a real world scenario.
No, okay, one, you're a lying sack of shit, Richie. No, they are not at all remotely saying that. There is no bit in that says, regardless of the cause of death, put down COVID-19. That is not being said anywhere, right? Let's go back to the bit that it actually does say. In case, no, I don't want your new chic stupid thing. In cases where a definite diagnosis of COVID-19 cannot be made, but it is suspected or likely, e.g., for example, let me, in case that was hard for you, Richie, the circumstances are compelling within reasonable degree of certainty, it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on the death certificate as probable or presumed. That nowhere in that sentence does it say that if you break your arm, if you have leukemia and die, that you should put COVID-19. Nowhere does it say any of this nonsense. Just, you were just making that out of whole cloth at this point. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know what I'm getting. What is this? We have like, yeah, I don't know why I'm getting like some weird ads today. So yeah. Yeah, so you just full of lies is pretty much what that turns into, and that's it. That's it. You just full of lies, Richie. You just full of lies.
Correct.
Right. That's
you guys don't do
right.
that.
No. Yes. No. Wait.
I got you. I don't use good punctuation even when I talk, so I apologize.
You're right. We don't have to do that. You put it down as a comorbidity. And every diagnosis from, like you said, a broken arm to a heart attack to a headache, there's a diagnosis code that goes along with that. Well, the COVID-19 came out with a diagnosis code, and I believe there's a couple of different ones that you can use, that they use modifiers with it. But the idea is that that's a number that goes on a death certificate that goes into a database that then they can scan through the database and say, oh, wow, look, out of 100 people that died, 90 of them died from COVID-19. Now, here's an important...
If there's a reasonable suspicion of it.
fact that I think your listeners need to know. In northern Italy, where they had early on the highest number of deaths in senior citizens, that they were saying, oh, this was all because of COVID-19 and all these people were dying. Two things I want to say about that. One is that they started doing a retrospective analysis, and they found out that most of the people that died were elderly and they had comorbidities. And they really died of the comorbidity, meaning they died of the heart attack, the stroke, we're
gonna stop here because it's okay. No, that's not how it works. Good. Yeah, no, this is back to that HIV thing, that like COVID-19 didn't kill the person, right? This is back to that redefining things. The people don't die of gunshots; they die of blood loss. People don't die of HIV; they die of whatever disease kills them that isn't HIV. Because HIV doesn't kill you. All it does is lower your immune system, which makes it super fucking easy for everything else to kill you. Same thing is true with COVID-19. Yes, COVID-19 probably wasn't necessarily the thing that killed them, right? The symptoms for that, but it made the likelihood of you dying from the other things much higher than it needed to be. And that doesn't make it not a death by COVID-19. Okay. The disease has still increased the death rate, yes. It is the WHO guidelines that so they can kind of compare the reported numbers, everybody with symptoms or diagnosed after testing to be treated as dying of COVID-19, and still countries do their own thing, like the UK that only takes hospital deaths and ignores home deaths of senior residents. It's almost as if there's a reason why old people with lots of preconditions are more susceptible for COVID-19. I don't even know how they're supposed to make fun of it anymore. It's not like that. You're right. Like there's no like this is real, right? Like this is some real shit that people have to deal with. And this, can I use the B word with her? Karen. I'm gonna use Karen. That's apparently a slur now. Karen here is super pissy about the fact that like this is not the time for this nonsense. It really is beyond like being like it's okay to say like anti-vaxxers are, not that they're okay, right? But having anti-vaxxers during a non-pandemic is better than having them now. Like having them now is increasing the likelihood of people dying. We obviously have protests by idiots in the US who think that they know better than doctors. So we're all gonna die. Being alive is the main cause of death, right? All right, so with that said, we're going to end things for today. Thank you very much for everyone for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. I will try to put names on titles of things, but again, we don't pick shit until we start talking about it. So, things to do. If you're still watching, make sure that you watch. But check out the other things that I do. Check me out over at Christy Winters' channel when we do a D&D with microbloggedism. I run it on Wednesdays, which show up on Wednesday nights. I know that it's probably late for a lot of you, but if you show up Wednesday nights, you get to watch me be a DM for a while, and it's fun. I have fun at least. Do that shit. Otherwise, go check out taking a look at maybe Saturday, maybe Saturday. We'll see. So thank you everyone for being here. I do greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, stay indoors, do all the good things, and I will see you all next time.